Hey y'all, it's Jason, JC's Honeybees, here to give you a quick little rundown on my honeybee fondant that I make to feed the girls during the winter. So, really it's pretty simple. It is a bit time consuming. Each batch will run you about an hour. So here we go. All my supplies here did come from Walmart. Inexpensive, easy to find, minus the pollen substitute. And if you don't have pollen substitute, you can substitute for soy flour and or rye flour. So again, all of that stuff you could pick up at Walmart. So here we go. There's your 10 pounds of sugar, 2 pints of water. I don't understand why the recipe called for 2 pints, but here we go. That'll be about 4 cups or 1 liter for the rest of the world. And there's our pollen substitute. In this case, it is actually pollen substitute, not soy or rye flour. I have used the other without any negative impact on the bees. A pinch of salt, you just eyeball that. It's just to help your water boil faster. What you need, a large pot. It's on the stove. Long handled spoon. Yep. Candy thermometer in the package. Spatula. I don't have that, so we'll still say that's our spoon. Electric mixer. That is dang near a necessity. It's for when you want to mix your pollen substitute into your hot melted liquid fondant. It mixes it up very, very well. And then half a teaspoon measuring, and then it has foil here. Some people will make their fondant into blocks, so they'll use the foil to make a mold. I'm lazy. There's my mold right there. The paper plates hold up well. You just pour the fondant in. You invert the paper plate on top of your colony when you're feeding, or you can pop the fondant out of the paper plate. If you use a paper plate, you leave it in, and you forget about it, the bees will just chew the paper plate up and throw it out of their hives. The ladies are really, really efficient. One thing that's not listed on here is the little sifter there. I like to run my pollen substitute through the sifter to help break up a lot of the big clumps, and it will make everything mix a lot better. The cream of tartar. This thing can kind of be a pain to find in your spice aisle, but it's a small little bitty thing. Sometimes it's under C for cream, other times it'll be under T for tartar. You can also use vinegar as a substitute to help invert your sugar. I do not know the dosing for that though. Anyway, I'll bring you back here in a little bit once we get the rest of it set up. Okay, we got our 4 cups of water. Gonna add a little salt. I would say to taste, but I don't really plan on tasting this. And you sit and wait for a boil. Wait, wait, wait. That's all you do with this recipe, y'all. Okay, water's boiling. Now we are gonna add our sugar. Don't really necessarily need your water boiling. You just need it hot enough to start melting or dissolving the sugar. And anyway, just mix in your sugar and stir. Alright, we'll catch you back in a minute. Okay, y'all. Sugar's mixed in. Cream of tartar's mixed in. Everything's dissolved. And now you're in for the long haul. Stir, stir, stir. You don't want to let your sugar burn, get caramelized, as I'm told that that's toxic for the bees. So we're just going to keep stirring until this comes to a boil. Or actually, once it starts bubbling, then you want to stop stirring. Because if you continue to stir past that point, it can cause it to overflow from the pot. So once we start noticing boiling, I'll stop stirring and put in the candy thermometer and wait for our barely about 240 degrees. We will return shortly. Hey y'all, figured I'd give you a little interlude here. Still stirring. You notice the top is getting kind of white, frothy. We are close to boiling. While you're stirring, you don't want to stir too quickly. You just kind of want to keep everything moving. Probably another couple minutes will boil. I'll bring you back for that. I don't think you want to sit here and watch me stir syrup. Okay, boiling is imminent. You notice, or if you can tell, you've got a good froth on here, kind of like the head on a beer. If you don't drink beer, it's like a well-shaken soda. At this point, I'll slow the stirring down even more with some little intermittent pauses and just waiting for it to start. It's not going to hurt anything at this point. Actually, if you look right there, we've got boiling. So we'll just take our little wooden spoon out. This is exciting, I know. And so again, if you keep stirring after it starts boiling, it will foam up on you pretty good. Here we go with our candy thermometer. Now, what it's going to do is it'll get to a real heavy rolling boil, and it will clear up a lot. And then you just will wait until your the mercury in your thermometer tells you you're at the temperature that you want to be. Some of the perks of feeding fondant, in my opinion, the ladies can utilize this any time of the year, no matter the temperature. It does not seem to bother the bees as far as robbing. Pretty easy to disperse all your colonies. And with this recipe here, I actually add pollen substitute so that they do get a protein along with it. Negatives. It's a pain in the butt to make, especially if you have a lot of colonies. So, but here we are. Nice rolling boil. Don't try this at home. See, we're a little over 200. The higher the temp that you go with when boiling, the harder your candy will be. Around 240 for me works great. It's still somewhat soft. It'll help absorb moisture and condensation inside your colony during winter. So I'll bring y'all back for the next step with the pollen sub. Okay, while that's boiling, I'm going to measure this. So we have about 1 cup pollen substitute. I like to run it through the sifter just to break up any big clumps. Believe it or not, it will actually mix a little bit better. You won't have all the big clumps that will remain in your fondant even after cooking. Okay, y'all, our fondant's down to around 200 degrees. I don't think you want to listen to the mixer run. It'll probably be pretty loud since I'm doing this with the phone. But we will just slowly kind of mix this in, and I'll bring you back. Okay, y'all, finishing up. Hope you can hear me. There, but you can hear me now. So we started, it was fairly clear. Pollen sub in there, now it's a nice brown. Again, by sifting the sub before you mix, you avoid a lot of clumps. If you have clumps or lumps in there, not a big deal, not the end of the world. I have yet to hear the ladies complain. So the next phase in this process will be just to pour this into our paper plates for the molds and just let it sit and cool overnight. Okay, plates are filled up. This is my first time using the generic brand of paper plates. They apparently hold more than the Dixie brand, or hold a larger volume, with 10 pounds of sugar and a cup of pollen substitute. We got 7 plates filled, which is fine. It really is. It means that each feeding that I give the bees, they'll actually get a little more than a pound of fondant. So, caution, this stuff is still around 200 degrees, and that's really hot. So be very careful. Make sure the kids are away or intelligent enough to not touch this. And for the men out there, don't spill it. It's a mess. It's a real pain to clean up before your wife gets home. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little something. Any questions, please feel free to message me. And I'll try to put a link to my little bee Facebook page. Y'all take care and good luck. A real quick afterthought here. Someone had asked about storage, and I figured y'all might would want to get a peek what this stuff is like when it's cured. So it's pretty hard, but it sits in the paper plates. Can pop it right out just like that. And usually when I give it to the bees, it's upside down like so, larger surface area. Put it right over the brood nest, and the girls will come get it. You know, it does not require any special care other than you want to be mindful of ants. So you can just stack it up in 5-gallon buckets, throw a little lid on there, and be good to go. And that'll be the end of it. I will leave y'all with this. And I'll see if I can find a way to get this recipe on the video. Again, y'all have a good one.